What you are listening to is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in the squared circle. Both parties have agreed to dismiss their cases and have their disputes settled here in our forum, the Turnbuckle Debate.
Everyone, welcome back to the Turnbuckle Debate. My name is Sneed.
I'm Chad.
And I am Tom, the OG fake kid, the staple of the Turnbuckle Debates.
Yeah.
There he is. And we have a special guest on today. We have Nick ARIAS from the RING FANATICS podcast. Nick, how's it going, man?
I'm doing great, guys. Thank you guys for having me again. I'm looking forward to the topics that we're going to be discussing today in today's episode.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you on, man. Tell the listeners a little bit about your podcast.
Yeah. So it is a wrestling podcast co-hosted by myself and my boy Joel. We drop episodes basically every Friday afternoon talking about wrestling, what's going on in current wrestling, and predictions for pay-per-views, and just basically giving our general thoughts about what's going on and the topic for that conversation we're having. So yeah. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, basically and Spotify. I don't know if I mentioned that one, but you can basically listen to us anywhere. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love the take that I saw you post of your partner Joel talking about women getting enough time on Raw. The small, I was like, oh, these guys, we gotta have these guys on. They bring the hot takes sometimes. I like it.
Yeah. He often brings the hot takes and randomly in the episode, so that's what I love about him. He puts it in there.
Yeah, that's great. It always makes it fun.
Yeah.
And it's good too that you have that experience to come on here and do some debating with us.
Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So with the debates, what we'll do, we have, I'm sure you know, but we'll explain. We do 3 topics. You've brought one topic to the table. We'll go through each topic. Everybody will go through and give just a round table discussion. And then we usually do about 10-12 minutes per topic.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
I'm ready.
So without further ado, are we ready to go?
Yeah.
Tom,
Sure.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right. So our first topic of the evening was AEW's move to TBS beneficial to the company?
I mean, it's certainly not going to hurt them. I don't see. I mean, I love the idea of another hour of TV and the 4 specials a year on TNT. I mean, people are making such a big deal out of it. I don't think it hurts them. I don't know if it's gonna, if it helps them that much. It's certainly not hurting them now.
I mean,
I think it's completely beneficial.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
you did mention the new 1 hour show that's happening, I believe, right after SmackDown on Fridays. Don't know if that's going to be on TBS too, but I know it's starting this year, so it could be in TNT for the time being. But I think it was a better move rather than staying on TNT for a while, because I believe before coming on here, I read that their original contract with TNT was to go up to 2023. So I think they might have cut it off a year earlier. But I think it's better because I've read some things where they may, because it was supposed to be this week's episode of TNT of Dynamite is not on Wednesday night this week.
Right.
So I feel like with that, because it's not the first time it's happened. This is not the first time they've had to not
Move
have
night.
Dynamite. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it may have been that type of issue where like, oh, we couldn't do things we couldn't do and move Dynamite every so often because of the NBA playoffs, NFL, MLB, whatever. So I feel like it's better off they move to a different network. So maybe I don't know if TBS does sports. So I think it's better off for them to move, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think, I guess we won't know until the actual move happens. I think Rampage is going to be on TNT up until 2022. And then 2022, it will move over to TBS with Dynamite. I think the reason why some people are worried, because anytime you see a show moving to another channel, it's like, they're moving, this channel didn't want them and they didn't see a future in them. I don't think that's the case at all. I think it's what Nick said. I think they're being preempted so much by the NBA playoffs and the NBA. And not to mention, they just signed the deal with the NHL, which happens in 2022. So not only are they going to be forced into moving nights because of NBA, they'll be forced into moving nights because of the NHL. And I think that hurts them more than moving a station. If they move stations and they can guarantee every Wednesday night they're here at this time, they can grow their base. Where if you're on TNT and 7-8 times a year, you're having to move nights. People, if they tune in on Wednesday and you're not there, there are people out there that just won't go find you. That's like, oh, they're not on tonight.
You don't have that consistency.
Right. Yeah. So I think moving is good. And they haven't spoke numbers, but I know this deal increased their money. Like they're getting more money to move to TBS. And TBS, although a lot of people say that TNT is Turner's prestige station for whatever reason, TBS actually has more viewers. They're in about a million more homes than TNT. And, I never really got the whole TNT is this prestige channel with their drama, TNT knows drama or whatever their slogan is, because TNT's one, it's the home of the NBA. They have a couple drama shows. There are 4 drama shows right now. It's Animal Kingdom, which is probably their most successful, Snowpiercer, The Alienist, and Claws. I don't hear anyone talking about those shows. It's not like we're getting Breaking Bad or Sopranos on TNT. TBS, they have original programming as well, but I think a lot of their original programming is more 30-minute sitcoms like The Last OG, Miracle Workers. They actually bought the rights for new episodes of American Dad, the animated show that used to be on Fox. Plus, I know Conan O'Brien is leaving TBS, but right now they're also the home of Conan O'Brien. So I think it's a good deal for them.
Yeah.
Listen, anytime you make a new deal and you're making more money, it's a good deal.
Yeah.
But I know baseball playoffs are on TBS in October, so I wonder. But again, it's only be a couple of weeks of probably preemption or movements compared to so much basketball and hockey.
Well, they're not going to be on their normal time slot until July, I believe.
Wow.
AEW is not going to be back on their normal time slot until either very late June, early July. So going to TBS, I think that's going to help tremendously, because baseball is not going to put them out like that.
And you got to think that's a selling point, to get them to be okay with the move. You got to think that they're like, look, if you move to TBS, you're not going to be as preempted as you are on TNT. I don't think they're going to move into TBS and still be in the same situation they're in on TNT, where they have to move on Friday nights and stuff like that.
Yeah, they had to agree to it, so they know what they're getting into. AEW, they're not, Tony Khan's not a dummy. He knows what he's doing.
Right. And I'm not sure if you brought this up or not yet, Chad. I can't remember, but they're going to be in more households.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
TBS has more households than what TNT does. So how is that not a better move just on that alone?
I find it hard to even believe the current rating system, since it's so outdated. There could be so many more people watching Dynamite who stream it through the apps and everything. And those numbers aren't even accounted for.
Right.
So, and it's going to be available on the TBS app the day after. So, it's not hurting anybody.
Okay. So let me ask another question. What happens with the TNT title? The TNT.
That's what I was going to bring up too, because I think Tony Khan said once on the Busted Open Radio, saying that they're planning on keeping it as TNT, because I know the Dynamite, TNT is kind of like the same thing.
Right.
So they can technically say like, oh, it's called the TNT Championship because of Dynamite, not because of the channel.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they're still going to have marquee. They're going to have 4 quarterly events, like a Clash of the Champions style big tentpole events on TNT.
Which I think that's going to elevate the belt even more than what it is now, because you get to build it. And then it comes to these bigger events. That's not a pay-per-view, but like you said, a Clash of the Champions, where you're going to have this build up to this TNT title match that you're going to see on TNT.
And I think that's huge for the brand to be able to spread their brand across 2 platforms. You know, it's not like they're completely leaving TNT. They're still going to be on there quarterly. So you're getting a little bit of that cross promotion. You know, you're going to be able to promote on NBA playoffs for TBS. They're going to share in their promotional commercials and things for Dynamite. To me, it comes down to like the basic, is this a good move? There's 2 things to me that it's really all you need to know. More money, more viewers. That's all it comes down to. You're going to a channel with more viewers. You're getting more money out of the deal. So why would it be a bad move?
Maybe it had to do with like, because I also feel like it may be a I don't want to say a bad business they were handling with each other, because I heard other rumors where the Young Bucks, Omega, and Cody weren't seeing eye to eye in terms of business. So I'm assuming maybe there were things that TNT did or wanted to do that AEW didn't like, or vice versa. One thing I read up on that AEW did that wasn't really in favor of TNT's approval was Sting's debut. You heard about that? Yeah, because they didn't like them unannouncing his debut arrival on TNT. They wanted everyone to be announced prior to debuting on Dynamite. So I'm assuming on other things they may not have seen eye to eye, and they wanted to work elsewhere where they could do whatever they want, and it's on their terms, whatever they do on Dynamite.
Yeah, and there's a part of me that thinks that whole thing was overblown, because for a promotion, for a broadcast company to come in and say they don't want surprises, you're taking away the lifeblood of pro wrestling. Pro wrestling has been built on out of nowhere, unannounced surprises. That's what fans live for. Yeah.
And because they also do partake, in some of the decisions that they do. USA has some decisions with WWE and Fox too. Right. So I guess they wanted more control on whatever they wanted to do on television.
And maybe this gives AEW a little more freedom to be on TBS. And the other thing, I think a lot of people, there was that nostalgic factor with TNT, especially with fans of our age, where we remember WCW Nitro being on TNT. So it was like, oh, wrestling's back on TNT. But you forget TBS. Yeah. Dusty Rhodes.
Saturday night.
Yeah. TBS. Dusty Rhodes used to refer to TBS as the mothership. That was where NWA and Power Hour, Georgia Championship Wrestling, Jim Crockett, all of that was TBS. So TBS actually has a longer history with pro wrestling than TNT does. 605. Yeah.
Yeah, 605 every Saturday.
Whenever you think about the times, TBS and the 05s is just synonymous with wrestling.
Yeah.
100%. That's so. Did they still do that on TBS? I don't even know.
I'm honestly not sure if they do.
Yeah, I don't know if they do it on the 05s or not, but I think that when AEW goes over there, they should.
Yeah, they should definitely do it for nostalgia reason.
Oh yeah, and this is one of those things too. Like everyone is kind of judging this by the reputation of the channel as it is right now. Like, oh, TBS has this type of programming and TNT has this type of programming. That stuff changes all the time. Anytime you get heads of, your president of programming at TBS, they could change and bringing in AEW, this is their chance to kind of brand this channel as a pro wrestling channel. USA is synonymous with pro wrestling. To me, Raw has kept USA relevant.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, this is a chance. What if AEW kind of becomes that for TBS?
It's definitely not the Law and Order reruns.
Yeah.
That's not what
they don't have La Femme Nikita anymore. So,
right.
Yeah. So, I think at the end of the day, and I think this could be the catalyst that TBS is looking for to change their image.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's a good move all around.
Yeah. Cause, and everyone talks about, TBS it's just reruns, syndicated reruns of like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Big Bang Theory. But hey man, TNT has reruns too. TNT has reruns of Charmed and Bones and Supernatural and One Tree Hill. Like,
Well, I mean, what was the running joke when Dynamite started? When it went off the air, it was like, "Stay tuned for Shawshank Redemption."
yeah, they're always
mean-
just showing old shows. It's every channel has a little bit of that.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to move on to the next topic, which is the topic that Nick brought to the table. And this topic is, do you think that certain characters in WWE have benefited and developed by not having a crowd?
Nick,
Yeah.
kick it off, man.
Yeah, so the reason why I wanted to talk about this topic is because I've seen a lot of tweets coming in like almost every other day. People love certain characters in WWE right now. And of course, with the Thunderdome, WWE can edit certain crowd sound effects, audiences to boo a certain superstar or cheer a
Right.
certain superstar. And who knows, maybe people love certain superstars outside of all of this. People love to cheer their favorites, boo their people they hate. And I feel like that kind of changes their perspective on who is a heel and who is a babyface. So I wanted to know what your guys' opinion on, is this going to change for certain people? Or certain heels going to remain heels, or babyfaces going to remain babyfaces when time comes, when July 16th comes around and fans are back in the audience?
I don't really
Yeah,
think there's any way to.
definitely.
I just don't know how to predict how the fan, like Roman Reigns could go out and get cheered immensely when they get a bit in front of a live crowd again.
Yeah.
And Marina, right now, WWE is controlling the narrative of who they want booed and who they want cheered. I don't think there's really a way to tell until we're in front of a crowd how people are going to react. I thought the first half of the pandemic, Zelina Vega was the star of Raw. Like, she was carrying the show. They even had a broadcast and like she was the most entertaining thing. And all of a sudden they stopped that. So it's going to be interesting to see the reactions and get like the live feel each week and see, what happens. If you look back to the whole Becky Lynch thing, when she turned on Charlotte, she was supposed to be a heel and she got over so big. So we don't have that now. We have no clue what's going to happen organically. So it's going to be interesting to see when the live crowds are back there.
Can you imagine how nervous Vince McMahon is right now?
Oh yeah,
Because-
he's big time nervous.
Because this guy has always gotten off on having control. And during the pandemic, he has had complete control over everything, every aspect of it.
Yeah, he's piped in the sounds that he wants for
It has been 100% Vince McMahon's show, and his asshole has to be so tight thinking about the live crowd about the change. Yeah,
It's so true because, like, man, you got to think, man, this is a crowd that they will turn on you in a dime.
Yeah.
Even though, like,
yeah,
I feel like the pandemic time, it's really divided fans, where fans are either 100% taking up for WWE, and you've got AEW fans taking up for AEW. And that's all because there's not that week to week live experience. When you're going to shows, all of that fades away because AEW fans are going to WWE shows and vice versa. So you're going to get the truth when when someone comes out like a Roman Reigns, is he going to get the boos that we're seeing piped in every Friday night, or are fans going to cheer?
Yeah, he's the one I'm scared about the most, because
for sure.
people seem to love his new character. So when his music hits come July 16th, I feel like people are going to give him a huge pop because they've loved what he's done so far during the pandemic.
Yep.
So I feel like that can be a change. And you brought up, Thomas, Becky Lynch, when she all of a sudden got a bloody nose and people started cheering for her ever since. As if, like, because if she was supposed to be a heel, she was portrayed as a heel. And then all of a sudden it took a turn, people loved her, and it kind of changed that perspective of the character. And, it's not Vince's fault. He was supposed to keep them as a heel or whatever the case may be. But again, the fans want to love who they want to love and boo who they want to boo. So it changes from time to time. And that's the confusing part about this.
Yeah. And I think the thing that's going to be interesting too, not only, are the people that they want to be baby faces going to be cheered, and are the heels going to be booed? There's that aspect of it, but there's also the aspect of these wrestlers that are cutting promos in empty arenas with just a bunch of TV screens of fans watching. What's going to happen when some of these guys who have kind of maybe had what we think are successful promos, what happens when they're in front of a live crowd and a what chant starts or a CM Punk chant starts? Like, there's no pressure for them right now. They're not, we're going to see the cream rise to the top, and some people are going to suffer for it. And I really do think Vince McMahon's sweating it, because a lot of their book now has been kind of manufactured through his control. So without that control and having that unpredictable live experience, it's going to really get interesting for AEW as well.
Yeah. Which I don't know if it's going to be as much for AEW, because they have had a good amount of fans there.
Yeah. They've been having fans for months now.
Yeah, because people are still coming out. I mean, when there were no fans, everybody was singing Jericho's Judas. When the fans came back, they were also singing Judas.
Well, now we got the Jungle Boy music that people are singing the Jungle Boy themes. Like, it's almost like I'm looking for, I'm not as worried about how it affects them, because I feel like fans are chomping at the bit to sing Judas, to sing Jungle Boy to the ring, to be involved. And I feel like with them having 500 to 1,000 fans every week for the last several months, they have a small sample size of how a bigger AEW crowd will probably react.
And if you're going to be honest, AEW led the way for the pandemic programming, starting right back from the very beginning when they figured out to put the ramp behind the shot, where WWE a couple of weeks later, they copied that because it looked terrible just having an empty arena behind it. Yeah. They allowed fans in before WWE, a small amount, but it still it added to the ambience of it and everything. So, and their stories have just been better. Like, there are people I feel more attached to on AEW right now and stuff I can't wait to see. Whereas in WWE, there's very little I look forward to watching right now.
Well, one thing I can tell you for sure is that I had an absolute blast last night at Double or Nothing with a full set of crowd. I had a blast there.
Yeah. This airs on the Monday after. We're recording ahead of time, but
don't give away the secrets.
What a 5-star review.
I will go. Future me had a blast at Double or Nothing.
I'm sure I will too, even though I'm not going. I'm sure I will.
I can't wait to watch it just to see the fans there, because it's going to be awesome seeing them sing along, and it's just going to be awesome having that feel back.
Yeah. Yeah, but in terms of like promoing in front of a live audience again for WWE, like back when Roman was supposed to be a babyface, that was again him cutting a promo, him trying to sell the crowd of people loving him, but then people hated him still. You know, it's nothing that he can really say can change their minds.
Yep.
So it's kind of up in the air at this point when fans come back. Like you said, Vince must be like sweating his ass off right now.
Yeah.
Worrying like, are people going to love this Roman now? Are people going to cheer him? Is that going to ruin Roman Reigns again? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because they've built this whole character that they've wanted to build, and they've done a great job shaping it the way they wanted to shape it. But when it comes back to live crowds, it's not up to how they shaped it.
Yeah, that's the thing. The whole head of the table, that whole storyline has been a pandemic created storyline.
And it could fall flat.
And out of any wrestler in WWE that's had a more divisive relationship with the crowd, it's been Roman.
Yeah.
And Roman, super talented, one of the best. I love what they're doing with him right now. But the fact of the matter is WWE was trying to push him as the next babyface John Cena, and the fans didn't want anything to do with it. And it's very interesting because what the fans wanted happened during the pandemic. So it's like, are those fans going to accept this, or are they going to revolt against it?
I mean, he's even lucky to have like Paul Heyman and the Usos. Well, Jay as of right now because he's a heel, but he's lucky to have them by his side right now, because I feel like when the fans come back, those are two people who can easily get booed to the max.
Yeah.
So as long as they have them as heels accompanying him every week, it might get annoying. You know, Jey Uso interfering in almost every single match. People are going to hate that. And that's the point.
Yep.
You're supposed to hate that. So I think if that continues and adds on to, you know, the Cesaro storyline, I felt like they could have pushed that back until the fans came back. So that way people can cheer Cesaro and boo Roman.
Right.
But again, that there's always more opportunities between them two. So
Yeah.
it's got to wait and see what's being booked by then.
And if you go back, say the pandemic starts a year earlier, Seth Rollins never turns to a heel. That was all because of the way the crowd reacted to him.
Yeah.
You know, the narrative would have been controlled that he was coming out being a hero week after week. Meanwhile, the fans would have been hating at home. We never would have known. It would have just been forced down our throats. So it's going to be different. It's hopefully it makes it better. It's not going to make it worse.
No, not
Yeah.
Raw, especially Raw. You
Especially
can't get
Raw.
worse.
Anybody have any final thoughts on this topic before we move on?
Nope.
Nope, pretty much said everything.
Nope. All right. Well, we move on. Final topic of the evening. Who is the better champ? Kenny Omega or Roman Reigns?
This
a
is a
tough one.
very
Yeah.
this is a very divisive, like, talk about Twitter. This is all I see on Twitter.
Yeah.
Is who is better, Omega or Reigns? This is all I see.
I mean, they're both doing a fantastic job right now. Omega collecting the titles is just on a monster run. He's so locked in. He's so good right now. You look over at Reigns, and he's supposed to be this the way he's talking to Cesaro in the ring and stuff. He's crushing it too right now. He's the one guy in WWE that's actually crushing it right now. You could say he's on a roll. I don't know. I would give Omega the nod just because I love the collection of the titles and how he's running right now.
Yeah, same here.
Kenny's my choice.
Kenny's my choice too.
I mean, it was hard for me. I would agree the same thing, but it was hard because the way I put it is what I basically role reversed. I put Kenny in Roman's shoes right now in WWE and Roman in Kenny's shoes right now in AEW. I know two completely different companies doing different things, but I think in Roman's position in AEW and him collecting the belts and becoming the belt collector, I think that would be more dominant, in my opinion, than Kenny's run. Because imagine Roman in his shoes and beating everyone up. I think that would be more believable and more badass in that case.
Yeah.
And Kenny's shoes in WWE still would have been great. Not saying it would be terrible. I'm not going to say that WWE is going to ruin Kenny Omega. He would still have that same amount of steam that he currently has in AEW. You know, he was still doing an amazing job. So it was hard, but I guess I would stay with Kenny Omega on that one.
Yeah, because if you're flip flopping him like that, Nick, then that poses the question: if their roles are reversed, is that an indictment on the wrestler themselves or the booking that they're being put in? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because here's how I just looked at. The way I decided was I took what has their matches and their roles been since Omega won the belt. And that was December 2nd. And when they were both champions, okay, what have they done? So Kenny Omega has more matches. He has 18 matches over the course of that time, and Roman Reigns has 10 matches. Now, out of those 18 matches that Omega had, he has 7 title matches. 3 of those were on pay-per-view. 3 of those were on TV. Roman Reigns, out of his 10 matches, 8 of those were title matches. 6 of those were on pay-per-view. 2 of those were on SmackDown. So that goes to show you that Reigns has more title defenses. But if you dig deeper into that, the only reason he has more title defenses is because WWE has had 6 pay-per-views since December 2nd. AEW has had 2 pay-per-views, and that's including Double or Nothing, which is
yesterday.
that hasn't happened yet. So Reigns has had more defenses, but it's strictly because WWE puts a pay-per-view out every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And AEW only has one. They've had Revolution and Double or Nothing in that time frame. Now I'm also including Impact's Rebellion, and I'm including AAA's Triple Mania because he beat Laredo Kid for the Triple Mania title, or he defended it against him.
Right.
And then he beat Rich Swann for the Impact and TNA title. So when you look at that, it's Kenny Omega's worked more, but Roman Reigns has defended his belt more. But I think that's a product of the WWE system having so many pay-per-view events.
And not to mention, WWE had Roman tap out to Daniel Bryan, even though the ref didn't see it. Their champion actually tapped out on it, and then the Kevin Owens match. The Kevin Owens match with the botch there, technically he should have lost if they would have went with it when he couldn't get up with the handcuffs and they couldn't. Heyman couldn't get it in. So it kind of makes the champion look weak twice. There's twice they booked him weak looking, and Omega has just been on a roll.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That handcuff that really pissed me off.
That pissed me out too.
Yeah, that was like, oh, let's just send the ref away. Like, where's the 10 count? Everyone's always complaining about AEW being shitty on their 10 counts. It's like, you just had the ref stop counting. He's counting and then he just stops. Like, what?
Yeah, like what? Come on, man. But yeah, so for me, I went with pure entertainment value. And for pure entertainment value, Roman doing what he's doing, it's good. I think what he's doing is what he should be doing.
It's the best thing he's ever done.
Yeah. Best thing he's ever done. I will 100% agree with that. However, Kenny Omega, the Good Brothers, the Young Bucks, God, they're so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
They're just sleazy shitbag heels that are just so
and it comes down to it comes down to what do you like, because Roman is very serious. He is a serious badass ass kicking heel,
right?
And Kenny is an obnoxious shitbag, arrogant, kind of has a little bit of comedy in his heeldom. And it's funny because you could really compare their crews too.
Right.
You've got Paul Heyman and you've got Don Callis.
Where Don Callis wins, hands down, no question.
Don Callis is killing. And I love Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
But Paul
He's
Heyman
not talking at all.
Yeah, this isn't the Paul Heyman that's with Lesnar.
It's a different Paul. It's Roman Reigns doing most of the talking rather than Paul Heyman.
Right. He's kind of sitting back and being in awe of Roman. And then you can compare, the Usos or Jay
to the Young Bucks
and those guys. So it is a very close, like I see the argument. It's really comes down to personal preference of what type of heel do you like. And, if you go to their history, both guys are extremely decorated. I looked at, just their history of singles championships. Now, Roman Reigns is a 3-time WWE champion, a 2-time Universal champion, 1-time Intercontinental, 1-time United States, and he's the 2015 Royal Rumble winner.
And how many times has he headlined Mania?
Yeah, tons. And now with Kenny, he's 1-time AEW champion, 1-time Impact champion, 1-time AEW Mega champion, 1-time IWGP Heavyweight, 1-time IWGP Intercontinental, 2-time IWGP Junior Heavyweight, 1-time IWGP US Heavyweight, and the 2016 G1 Climax winner. So it's like, even there, they're so close. Like they're so close.
Yeah. And then even with the only thing that kind of stopped me from going with that the only reason why I chose Omega was because of what he's capable of and what he's doing with the collecting belts. I mean, he's not done yet. I mean, he's probably going to add more to his collection. Yeah. He has a match with Andrade at Triple Mania in August. I think he's defending a Slammiversary against Moose. So depending on, obviously they're going to be banger of matches, no doubt.
Yeah.
But
I love the fact that he's going everywhere.
Yeah, he's going everywhere.
I love that he's not only in AEW, you have him in AAA, you have him in Impact. Who knows where they could show up?
I think
Yeah.
that's a big benefit to his argument, you know, and that's
Yeah.
Roman Reigns is
100%.
trapped in WWE where they
universe.
don't do that. He's
Yeah.
trapped in the universe.
Omega's doing it across promotions, and Reigns is just doing it on SmackDown. He's not even like going over to Raw and saying, "Oh, like I want to take that title too." So,
Now, I have a question. What do you guys strip away all the accolades, strip away the promos and the characters and all of that? When it comes down to just a match, in-ring quality, who do you enjoy watching just in a match, like their matches? For me, that is when it becomes easy, because although
Yeah.
I like Roman, I think you
100%.
see a lot more intensity and you see a lot more variety in the storytelling within the match with Kenny Omega.
Absolutely. He's the best bout machine.
Yeah.
yeah, without a doubt, it's
course.
Omega.
Yeah. I mean, I do enjoy Roman Reigns match, but then Omega, you mean, you can't not go with Omega on that one. I mean, especially now he's putting in different situations now. You know, he had the barbed wire death match at Revolution. He's not going to be in a triple threat match with Cassidy and Pac. So they're putting him in the variety of different matches since he's won the title. So it's different for him. He can go up against anybody. He went up against Rich Swann. He went up against Moxley a few times. Kingston, a guy like Orange Cassidy, who's more of a comedic wrestler.
Right.
So he's getting put into different matches where Roman has been pretty much going up against the same people ever since he won the title.
Yeah, there's not a lot of variety in Reigns matches. You kind of know how they're going to go. Not that they're not exciting. I mean, he's great.
Right.
But with Omega, another thing, how protected, Tom, you would know this because you watch it a little more closely than I do, but how do they protect Reigns' finish as well as they protect the one-winged angel finish? Like, when he hits his finisher, does anyone ever kick out of Reigns' finisher? I don't.
I think Cesaro has kicked out of.
Cesaro did it the last pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So
okay. Yeah.
And it's happened before. And like Reigns has had good matches against Daniel Bryan. Every time they fight, it's a great match. He had a great match against Cesaro. But you talk about Omega, every match he has is great. Yeah. Like it doesn't matter who his opponent is, where Reigns has the better matches with the better opponents. That says a lot.
I'm pretty sure the triple threat match is going to be a banger, and for the most part, we probably not even know it. I mean, at this point, this is before the pay-per-view, we're probably not even going to know it yet.
No, it was a banger last night.
Yes, it was a banger. It was a banger. It was a banger. It was a banger.
How crazy was it when Daniel Bryan showed up?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say the same
lose
thing.
my mind. But
you did lose your mind. It was crazy.
Yeah, you lost it, man. You lost it already.
I lost it already. It happened.
See, you don't even remember.
Yeah, it's so good. I forgot.
But that's a thing too. Like the one-winged angel, man, the entire storyline in Impact Wrestling is Don Callis talking to Moose and those guys. Like, all it takes is one. And they protect the finisher.
When he did that promo with Rich Swann, where he was going, one-winged angel, one-winged angel.
yeah, man. Yeah. So you gotta keep. I love when they keep finishers strong, man. Don't. Yeah. That way, when someone kicks out of a finisher, it should mean something.
It's a hands-on head moment.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when someone kicks out of the one-winged angel, it's going to be a holy shit, I can't believe that happened moment.
I think Swan kicked out of it a few times at the Rebellion, I think it was. I think he kicked out of it once, maybe twice.
I know he kicked out of the V triggers. He kicked out of like two V.
I think that might have been it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, I think the argument goes to Kenny Omega, just in my book.
Yeah,
I agree.
Same.
All right. So does anybody have any final topics, any final remarks before we close it up?
Nope.
Tom, boy, you're quiet today, man.
Yeah, Tom's just taking it in.
It's been a long week. I have a migraine headache right now.
A long weekend.
But I'm the staple, so here I am.
Yeah.
I mean, Double Nothing was pretty sure good, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that made up for everything this week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nick, let everybody know where they can find you guys on like social media and stuff. Ring Fanatics podcast.
Definitely.
Plug away, man.
You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Just searching at the Ring Fanatics. You'll find us there. On Spotify, also the Ring Fanatics, and on YouTube at the Ring Fanatics podcast. We're currently at 130 subscribers, trying to grow that. And yeah, like I said, at this point, we already dropped our Double or Nothing predictions episode. I know this is dropping after, so even though it already happened, you can still go ahead and catch it and watch it there. Yeah.
Yeah,
See how
man.
good they were.
Yeah.
See how accurate we were.
Yeah, go subscribe to Ring Fanatics on YouTube. I follow you guys on social media. Love the stuff you guys put out.
Thank you.
Hope to have you on again. Hope to have your co-host on sometime.
Definitely, for sure.
You guys can come on anytime you want, man.
Yeah, we're always here, and yeah.
Same here, man. You guys are always welcome to come on.
Thanks again, Nick.
No problem. No problem. Thank you for having me.
Good having you.
Get it in, Tom.
OG Fit Kid, Twitter and Instagram.
I knew it was
Follow
coming.
me.
All right, we're cutting you off, Tom. Court is cut him off. Court's dismissed.